Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you so very much for being with us today and honoring us with your presence. Today is a very special day. Today we celebrate 100 years of AUC. Standing on this iconic stage today, again, is actually making me extremely emotional. Seeing my professors, seeing my colleagues and my friends, people I haven't seen for some time, is bringing tears to my eyes. Tears of pride, tears of joy, tears of excitement. My name is Jasmine Taha Zaki, and as a proud alumna of AUC, I feel extremely honored, blessed, privileged, and making special event, AUC Centennial Celebration. This iconic stage and this hall just brings back so many beautiful memories. I remember the very first time I entered this hall, and I sat at the very, very end. I took my Michigan exam and my placement tests. I also remember attending the folklore show and the choir group, the talent show, the winter variety show, and sitting here or there. Who can forget attending the Thursday night movie and sitting right in the center to be able to watch the movie well? Beautiful memories that I'm sure many of you, my friends, share with me. Bear with me because it is bringing tears to my eyes. But today, as we are all celebrating this very special day, there was no better place to celebrate the story of AUC, where it actually started right here in this historic palace. AUC definitely prides itself in its buildings, Tahrir campus and New Cairo, but perhaps its buildings are not its only pride. The iconic part of AUC is definitely its people, its community, its alumni. So let us cheer our alumni, and for this very special occasion, we have assembled a video just to showcase and show you how proud we are of all of our alumni all over the world. They always stand out and they always distinguish themselves wherever they are, in every arena and in all walks of life. AUC 100, be the future, and we are showcasing all of our alumni. Actually, they are only a very small example of our alumni all over the world.
What is success? It's 25 steps down and 300,000 kilometers to the top. 40,000 taps and 60,000 clicks to find your rhythm. 7,000 hours of testing ideas in the lab to one of them finally seeing the light of day. It's never taking a break from breaking the news. It's 5 years spent on a major and still thriving at your minor. 50,000 essays fictionalized to 3 winners of the Pulitzer Prize. 200 hours of presenting in classes to building a career talking to the masses. 4 years of looking up to them to becoming one of them. From cracking the code to success to getting the recognition you deserve. It's 8,000 people late to class and those who made sure you never miss it. It's years of friendship that turned to a baking empire. From being the voice of the student body to being the voice of the people. It's making it big at the fashion capital. 2,000 hours of studying history to 50,000 hours of covering it. It's going from center stage to the silver screen. Doing what you do best in front of the camera or behind me. It's when the student becomes the master. It's 90 years without autocorrect and 4 million words that did not need it. It's starting a movement that will grow to serve a nation. It's breaking the mold, changing the rules, taking charge, and shaping the world. Your success and ours has been 100 years in the making. To the next 100. Be the future.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, ministers. Minister Tariq Shawwi was with us, took special trouble to come here briefly, go to a presidential event he has to go to. He's the Minister of Education, as we know. Her Excellency, Minister Dr. Ramiel Mashat, member of the faculty, alumna, star of the video we've just seen among them, she's Minister of Tourism. Ambassadors, colleagues from sister universities in the region and in Egypt, international guests, supporters and friends, and members of the AUC community. We're honored to have you all join us as we begin a year-long global celebration of AUC's centennial of our founding. Today, we also honor our alumni, students, faculty, and staff for a century of dedication to shaping the brightest minds and ensuring AUCE is the fine institution that it is today. I'd like to begin by recognizing our faculty, who have been an essential pillar of and a loyal force behind AUC, allowing for our growth and for our success. So I would like to take this opportunity to ask our currently serving faculty and our retired faculty, please to stand and let us thank you and salute you for your service over these years. Faculty members. Thank you. And although this hall holds 1,000 people, we could only have a representative sample of the faculty in order to have others join as well. Our students are why we are here, after all, and they've been a source of pride not only to AUC, but to Egypt. They have always excelled and gone on to lead both locally, here at the national level, and internationally in so many fields. So as we celebrate our past, I thought this afternoon, we would also take just a moment to salute, to admire, to wish well, to look forward to the future with just two representatives. First, I'd like to give a warm welcome to one representative of our incoming class, one of our freshmen, Amina Khidr. And please stand, Amina, wherever you are. Amina represents the fresh tide of people who enter through a very competitive process to become AUCians. I'd also like to introduce the proud latest completed investment, if I may put it that way. Just last month, really a week ago, we graduated into the world the first cohort of our Centennial 2019 class. And to represent that class, we have Ismail Suwailam, who is here with us too. Ismail, are you here? Our celebration today coincides with the meeting of our Board of Trustees here in Cairo. Our trustees come from around the world once a year to Cairo, twice other times of the year in other locations, usually the United States. These are a dedicated group of volunteers, primarily American, but certainly many Egyptians, who give generously of their time. The 3 T's, as we say, or even the 3 W's. The 3 T's are their time, and it is really valuable time. Their treasure, their personal wealth. These people are not paid to serve as trustees. They pay for that privilege. And their talent. These are wise people in different fields of law, higher education, business, government, philanthropy. Another way to remember it is the 3 W's: work, wealth, and wisdom. Our trustees have navigated AUC from its early beginnings to where it stands today. So may I ask our trustees to please stand and be recognized. Ladies and gentlemen. We're not only honored, but very deeply touched to have with us today Dr. Thomas A. Bartlett, a longtime member of the Board of Trustees and the oldest living AUC president. I'm going to say a few more words for those who don't know the Bartletts. Dr. Bartlett came to AUC with his wife Molly, who is also with us today, when he served as AUC president from 1963 to 1969. So if we think our times are turbulent, imagine those times. He was the university's youngest president at that time, former Foreign Service officer as well, a diplomat, if I may say. His forward-looking vision led AUC to double both its campus size and its student body, to expand and develop its faculty and academic programs, and to modernize its facilities. Plus ça change, the more it changes. We continued in your vision, Tom. Under his tenure, AUC bought the Greek campus, and when the 1967 war took place, it was a historically, pivotally challenging time for both AUC and for this country and for this region as a whole. Nevertheless, the university continued to operate, and students managed to sit for their exams thanks to Dr. Bartlett's able leadership. And in fact, just outside this hall in the fountain area, many of us were just there, as all AUCians know that area, the fountain area, is a fountain with an inscription in dedication of Tom and Molly's exceptional service to AUC. Demonstrating his commitment and passion to the university, Dr. Bartlett returned to the university to serve again as interim president from 2002 to 2003. His family has a long tradition of giving to AUC, and 2 of his sons, Richard and Paul, are AUC trustees. We're privileged that Tom and Molly are joining us today, as are Richard and Paul, as AUC celebrates this momentous time in its history. So thank you again to all the Bartletts, and especially Tom and Molly, to you. And finally, because this is such a wonderful moment bringing together generations of the past and those who will far outlive us and take AUC's name into the future, I'd like to touch on a few representatives of the 38,000 living alumni who span the globe and are really another foundation stone of our global influence and impact. So I thought it might be fun just to test and see. I don't know for sure who's here, but I wanted to ask anyone who was a student or a member of the faculty or who had retired from the faculty or staff at the time of our 50th anniversary celebration. That would have been 50 plus 19 is 69. So those who were either on the faculty, on the staff, or students in 1969, or let's say before, could you please rise to see if we must have some who have been around that long. We do. I want to push it one little bit more. So, are there any among us who came here, let's say in the fall of '59, on our 40th anniversary, who are teaching in that academic year of 59? See, so it's a little dark, but I saw it was Doris, also Doris Jones, and Adil Bashai. So thank you very much for your amazing service. So we have living witnesses to at least half of our existence as a university here, and even more in a couple of fortunate cases. So throughout these last 100 years, AUC has been a rising star in Egypt's higher education system, and truly a proud contributor to the country's intellectual life and our connectivity to the rest of the world. Today, Egypt, I believe, can be, should be, really must be, at a point of renaissance. Much will lie on us to determine whether it will turn out to be that way, but the opportunity is there, a point of renaissance, and AUC must be at the heart of that revival. Working to re-establish Dunya as the cultural magnet that has always been. Ensuring that the best minds of this region are equipped with the education that they need for the lives of service which our alumni have always led. And spearheading impactful research to address the most pressing challenges of our time. This is a moment of reflection, not just on a legacy rich in achievements and remarkable accomplishments, perhaps never fully imagined at the time of AUC's founding in 1919. It's also a moment of ambition, of inspiration, of realization that the next 100 years hold even greater promise and boundless potential, and challenges as well. We see four critically important areas. First, the global experience that we represent. The ability to engage the world is a defining feature of our graduates and of our times. Through agreements we have as AUC with more than 100 leading universities around the world, mostly in the United States, and really aggressive efforts to recruit internationally, we expand our global education by restoring the number of international students coming to our campus and giving every Egyptian student a global experience. We're committed to achieving the levels on internationalization in our faculty and our student body that we really must have to continue to provide that global experience. Second priority that's always been ours and we reaffirm. This year, it is academic quality. This year, we received the top level of reaffirmation of our decennial accreditation from the Middle States Commission on Higher Education, one of only 17 institutions outside the United States to achieve this. We have new programs and top accreditations in niche fields and programs and initiatives all across the board, and that they help ensure and measure our quality standards. Third emphasis is diversity and access. Thanks to the generosity of our donors, AUC offers more than $20 million in scholarships each year. And as we enter our next century, we remain committed to ensuring the very top students from all corners of Egypt, this region and from around the world will have access to AUC and our quality education regardless of their ability to meet our tuition costs. Finally, a fourth area of emphasis, many of you have already experienced a bit of it. If you haven't, after you leave here, please go around and check out our new Tahrir Cultural Center. We are dedicated to reviving Egypt's place as a regional fountainhead of the arts and culture through the establishment of AUC's Tahrir Cultural Center. Really, this is the reason we are here today. Thanks to the visionary generosity of engineer Naguib Sawiris, we are inaugurating today the first phase of the Tahrir Cultural Center. An inspirational philanthropist, Naguib is passionate about giving back to Egypt, giving generously and with purpose, focus, and impact. We share with him a common vision of the importance of culture, of intellectual exchange, and of art in reviving the spirit of downtown Cairo. This first phase of the Cultural Center features a renovation of 6 gallery spaces, a beautifully newly redesigned outdoor garden, perfect for exhibitions and music festivals, as we'll have this afternoon, a remodeled cafeteria, this newly renovated Ewart Hall, Oriental Hall, special access lounge area, the Feliki Theater and Gallery, spaces for workshops and classrooms, all in the service of our faculty, our students, and the larger public. And once complete, this cultural center will be a centerpiece, once again, of downtown Cairo, the beating heart of culture, not only for Egypt, but for the entire Arab world. We'll soon be announcing opportunities for others to join in supporting this vision through the Friends of AUC's Tahrir Cultural Center initiative. So have a good look around throughout the afternoon and the day, and just imagine the possibilities we have here. Please do join us not only here, but in the United States and other cities around the world as we celebrate. I could list a very long calendar. You have a brochure. I'll touch on some of them. In March, we have Minouche Shafiq coming here, head of LSE. In April, we are supporting President El-Sisi's Year of Education by hosting 12 presidents of African universities and 9 presidents of Chinese universities on our new campus. In May, we have a major fundraising dinner in New York at the Temple of Dandour, and on and on and on. Geneva, Amman, different cities around the world. Please take a look and see where you would most like to participate. It's now my very great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Amr Adli, who is the Deputy Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research for University Affairs, who will be conveying a message from His Excellency Dr. Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, who is our very esteemed colleague, truly, and friend and partner as the Minister of Higher Education in this country. We have the closest collaboration with the Minister, who has truly approached every issue from a problem-solving perspective. So Dr. Amr, I would invite you now to deliver that message. Thanks once again. Kulu sana wa kuluna tayyibin.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, AUC and colleagues, faculty member colleagues, students, before conveying the message of His Excellency Dr. Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, please allow me first to convey his apologies for not being here because of a travel commitment to Ethiopia. And on a personal basis, I have to mention, it's a great honor and pleasure for me to be here, having so many colleagues and friends, AUC and colleagues and friends, and talking about Ewart Hall memories. I recall that almost 3 decades ago, that's where I had to take my TOEFL, GRE, subject GRE exams in order to pursue my PhD studies in the United States. And now the word from His Excellency, Professor Richard Bartlett, Chairman of the Board of Trustees of the AUC and all members, His Excellency Mr. Francis Richard Dawn, President of the American University in Cairo, His Excellency Mr. Thomas Goldberger, Charge d'Affaires, American Embassy in Cairo, Professor Ashraf Hatem, Advisor to the American University in Cairo, dear ministers, officials, heads of universities, public figures, professors, and scholars. Dear students, dear guests of Egypt, distinguished guests, it is my greatest pleasure to share with you these historic moments in which we are celebrating a very important occasion, the 100th anniversary of the inception of the American University in Cairo. This prestigious academic institution has managed to be a distinguished link between Egypt and the United States at all educational research and innovative tracks. At first, I would like to extend my warmest greetings to the distinguished guests of Egypt, members of the AUC Board of Trustees, and the distinguished political and academic figures who are warmly welcome to attend this ceremony and whom I wish a pleasant stay on the land of Egypt. I would also like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to the AUC family and the families of higher education and scientific research in both Egypt and the United States on the 100-year outstanding giving by the AUC. I would like to pay a special tribute to the founders of this distinguished academic edifice, to all those who have contributed to enhancing its reputation at the local and international levels, and to all its graduates and students from all over the world. I wish this edifice more progress in serving education, science, and culture, and Egyptian-American relations, more strength and prosperity. Professors and scientists, distinguished guests, when looking into the history of the AUC since its inception in 1919 and its developed performance over the years, it is considered a perfect example of an academic institution which is mainly concerned with society and which is keen to translate its needs into academic disciplines, using the outputs represented by graduates and theoretical and applied research to meet society's requirements. In the first place, the establishment phase is worthy of mentioning. The founders, headed by Dr. Charles Watson, the founding president of the university, set a specific goal, that is establishing a university that would provide liberal education in English, contributing to building the personality of its enrolled students and implanting in them values of discipline and self-development of personal traits and skills. Throughout its long history, the AUC has witnessed many excellence phases. The first and most important excellent phase is that it opened in 1928 its doors to girls. This year also witnessed the graduation of the first batch of students of arts and science at the university. The year 1950 witnessed the launch of the first master's degree. Important phases and academic, structural, and administrative upgrading of the university have been constantly carried out so that the university can reach the current status. The university has 6 faculties with more than 500 teaching faculty members. It offers more than 30 undergrad programs, 15 postgrad programs, for a total of 6,500 students from Egypt and from more than 100 countries of the world. This is what makes it, by nature, an international cultural and academic forum on the land of Egypt. Moreover, the university provides opportunities for continued education to enhance professional skills and employment opportunities. Throughout history, the AUC has been a true bridge for communication, not only between Egypt and the USA, but between both the Oriental and Occidental cultures, the Oriental culture with deep spiritual and cultural values, and the Occidental culture with values of work, innovation, and modernity. In addition to its role and efforts in the field of academic work and the launch of creative thought for students and researchers, the university is the first academic institution to have obtained an accreditation certificate for all its colleges and programs from the National Authority for Quality Assurance and Accreditation of Education, the Egyptian Quality Assurance Authority. Also, it is the first, as of course Dr. Richard Doni mentioned, the first academic institution in Egypt to have been awarded the Certificate of International Accreditation from the Middle States Commission on Higher Education. Its high level of performance has qualified it to be one of the institutions that have constant advanced ranks on various world rankings. On its part, the Egyptian state at the time when it was going through a national struggle for liberation and enlightenment has always expressed its pleasure with the existence of this outstanding academic edifice and has always been proud that this edifice's cultural and scientific radiation is emitted from its land. That is why the state is keen to support the university and help it achieve its goals and create many channels to maximize cooperation and exchange experiences with other academic institutions across the land of Egypt. Honorable audience, I would like to reiterate welcoming dear guests of Egypt. I would also like to reiterate my congratulations to the American University in Cairo on the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the initiation of its noble academic, cultural, and societal message. I wish the AUC and all of you more success and progress on all levels. Thank you for your attention.
Every time I walk up those stairs, my heart starts to beat. And I recall the last time I walked down this aisle in my cap and my gown. I'm all excited about receiving my BA and then my MA in public administration. And here I am standing in front of you all, my professors, my dear colleagues and friends and family members, very proud of my AUC. I believe two things have held us, we of AUC, together over the past many years. The first being that we pride ourselves in our AUC. The second is our sense of belonging to AUC. Without his generous support and belief in the power of culture, AUC's Tahrir Cultural Center would not have been possible. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to stage a well-known philanthropist and business leader, Mr. Naguib Sawiris, chairman of Orascom Investment Holdings.
First, let me say it's an honor to be here today, and if you're asking yourselves what connects me to the AUC, frankly, nothing except that when I was a kid, I used to come and watch movies in this hall here. But as a business, our companies, business companies, whether it's construction, whatever, we are always very happy when we employ AUC graduates. And out of gratefulness, I want to say that we are grateful to what the university produces every year, because without these young people who graduate from this university, I think all of our enterprises and many of us businessmen would have had a difficulty into finding qualified young people to work with. So I'm here out of gratitude, and maybe the Tahrir Cultural Center is a kind of returning the gratitude back to this great university, you know. So when the ex-president Lisa Anderson called me and said, we need your brain to tell us what should we do here in this old beautiful building and this campus, she invited me here, and I came, and there was this ugly science building on the corner, which the architect should be really crucified, because I think he would win the worst building in the world. Because first we went into the building trying to see what we could do with it, you know, because nobody imagined what my suggestion would be, you know. So I really tried very hard to find any use of it, but it was an impossible building. I don't know even how students used to study there. So after going through the whole campus, I told her, listen, my proposal is we turn this into a new cultural hub in Cairo here. We really need that. Nothing promotes a country more than its youth, and nothing helps the youth more than culture. Because we want our youth to come up, get rid of these dangerous ideas they get, be enlightened, be creative, and be entrepreneurs like ourselves. So nothing can add to education more than culture. So was not a difficult job to convince her to turn this whole space into a cultural hub, something to compete with the Egyptian opera or other cultural hubs, which is easy. So it should, should not be a good deal. So I put only one condition to my contribution. I told her, I will do it if you manage to convince your board of trustees to buy some dynamite and remove this ugly building out of the garden, and I'll do all the rest, you know. And frankly speaking, and in her honor, I say she did it, you know. She convinced, the building is out. And I was lucky because I knew Ambassador Francis when he was ambassador here, so also for an entrepreneur, he will not invest. I can assure you we spent tens of millions in this project without asking for any return. So to be sure, because some people said that you took over the center. No, no, no. I'm doing this cultural center. I helped putting the management on it. I financed the stuff, and I am helping the management with my brains, but there's nothing into coming back to us, you know. So I wouldn't have done it except if the other new president on the other side of this deal is someone I know that he's an accomplisher and he'll appreciate and he'll get things done with me, and I want to thank him because that's what he did exactly. What is this center? You know, we wanted really to give the youth back. I remember how excited we were when we were kids coming to this hall here, watching a movie, watching a theater play, or watching a band playing music, you know. So we turned this place into exactly that. So it's going to be, we're going to have a calendar over the year with events, with musicals, with art, all different art, whether it's sculpturing or people want to put their art in the galleries we just refurbished, or the garden to be used for music, performances. So it's going to be another hub. We made sure that the management is private, is intellectuals, are good people who understand this, and they will work within the university and with the help of the university. God help us with your administration, but we got to where we are today, even off your administration. But I want to, I'm just making jokes, don't worry. No, we're grateful to the help we got, you know. It's not, you don't have an easy task, I can tell you that. Now, I want to just reiterate my thanks to everybody for giving me the opportunity to help here, my gratitude, and I want to just, because I saw the last events, you know, and as you know, me, I speak always regardless of the consequences of what I say. So, so sometimes I have to say things people don't say. You know, I have to say that as someone who loves America, believes in America, because of the values it has, I think that a visit of the Foreign Minister of the United States of America to an American university is an honor to the university, and it's an honor to the Foreign Ministry's Secretary himself too. And it should not be taken more out of its context, because you are not responsible or you're not endorsing what he says. But to get the Foreign Minister of the United States to use our premises here for a speech, I think it's honorable, and I think it should be left at that, and it should not be mixed with any other issues. I'm saying that because I don't like to keep things inside myself, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Naguib Sawiris, for your gratitude. Thank you for your generosity. Thank you, above all, for your sense of humor. And thank you for your belief in the importance of culture and the role that youth can play. Having first been introduced to AUC as a young boy, Mr. Richard Bartlett has had a connection with the university and Egypt for most of his life. Since 2003, Mr. Bartlett has been a member of AUC's Board of Trustees and currently serves as chair. He has contributed significant time and energy to the university, as well as philanthropic support for numerous programs and scholarships. So please join me in welcoming Mr. Richard Bartlett to stage.
members of the cabinet, Mr. Naguib Sawiris, fellow trustees, President Richard Doney, AUC alumni, friends of AUC and Egypt, thank you and welcome to Ewart Hall at the Tahrir Cultural Center and the official beginning of our celebration of AUC's centennial. It's a great honor to be able to speak to you today in Ewart Hall. My own childhood is filled with memories of speeches, movies, and plays here. I always started the evening excited, but as a 6-year-old, I often ended up asleep. I hope my comments don't induce the same drowsiness in all of you. As you know, for this entire year, AUC will be hosting all kinds of events that explain, highlight, and celebrate the university's illustrious history. As I was reviewing them, I noticed that a campus committee wisely recommended that by the start of the centennial this month, the campus should be completely smoke-free. You may wonder why I highlight this policy on this momentous occasion, other than to demonstrate AUC's commitment to the health of its community. What some of you may not know is that the land on which we sit today is the site of an old cigarette factory. And our palace next door serves as its headquarters. Was our campus committee aware of that legacy when it decided to make a smoke-free campus? I guess the point of this story really shows that even at a time when we're all steeped in AUC history, there may be a few facts about our past that are best ignored. But at least it was a beautiful cigarette factory, and its beauty seems to have inspired intellectual life, because AUC was actually not the first university born here. When Nestor Janocles, the cigarette merchant, closed his factory here, he first leased the property to the Egyptian University. This is the school that became King Farouk University and eventually Cairo University across the Nile. Our founder, Charles Watson, became aware of the property when actually President Teddy Roosevelt gave a speech from here that was widely reported. Mr. Watson was failing in his attempt to buy a suburban site for AUC by the pyramids, and soon decided to try to purchase where we sit today. AUC had little money, and Janocles refused to accept the price that AUC could afford to pay. But in the spring of 1919, the British helped us out by arresting Egypt's revolutionary leader, Saad Zaghloul. Demonstrations broke out across the country, causing land values to plummet, and in late 1919, AUC was able to buy the property. We couldn't take possession of it until the Egyptian University found a new home, which didn't happen until after summer exams were over. With only a few weeks before its planned opening in 1920, AUC scrambled frantically to refurbish the facilities before opening day. Naguib, does that sound familiar? When the doors finally opened for the first day of school, the principal wrote, "While not everything is absolutely perfect, still we are remarkably well prepared. The colors are subdued, but the lights make it, I believe, the most beautiful place in Cairo." Today, we once again open our doors to a newly refurbished version of these historic buildings to reinvigorate our contribution to cultural life. The Tahrir Cultural Center is a fitting reaffirmation of AUC's ambitions 100 years ago. From its founding, AUC wanted desperately to contribute to the cultural life of Egypt. When an anonymous woman visited the university in 1925 and offered to help, Charles Watson told her he wanted to build a large auditorium for lectures and performances. Literally within a few hours, she agreed to give $80,000 to build such a space, naming it after her grandfather, William Dana Ewart. And what a gift to Egypt it has been. The list of events and speakers that AUC has hosted here is as eclectic as any you can imagine. And the Tahrir Cultural Center guarantees that this legacy will continue. Toscanini directed the Palestinian Symphony Orchestra here. Doria Shafiq began her march here. Kulthum catapulted her career here. Speakers have included world heavyweight boxing champion Gene Tunney, Arab-American professor Edward Said, US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, Taha Hussein, Jimmy Carter, and AUC trustee and Nobel laureate Ahmed Zewail, and on and on and on. None of us here today would agree with all that has been performed or spoken here, but AUC is stronger and Egypt is better because all these voices have been heard. AUC now has a spectacular suburban campus of the sort that Charles Watson dreamed of, but thanks to the generosity of Mr. Sawiris, interesting voices, thrilling performances, and creative works of art will still be seen and heard in this historic space. AUC and Egypt will, as always, be enriched. Throughout this year, as we reflect about our past, we should focus on what it is about AUC that has allowed it to endure. Formed at the end of one World War, AUC has navigated through several revolutions, another World War, nationalizations, economic depressions, bread riots, and currency devaluations. In the face of that turmoil, it has persevered, indeed flourished, and will continue to flourish for one primary reason: the fundamental appeal of its central mission. A private, not-for-profit liberal arts university completely dedicated to education in Egypt. An institution committed to educating the whole person, ethically, intellectually, and physically. An institution that recognizes the importance of cultural life and that is committed to critical thinking, open debate, and curiosity. A university open to a diverse range of intellectual thought. These are compelling ideas. They appeal across disciplines, genders, generations, nationalities, religions, ideologies. At every critical stage in AUC's history, people, Egyptians, Americans, Arabs, have recognized that AUC is a positive force for Egypt and the world. They have supported it with their treasure, encouraged it in their protocols, spared it from nationalizations, and defended it from revolutionary turmoil. AUC has flourished because its mission responds to society's needs. As a child in the 60s, and actually that's when Adli Bashai and Doris Shukri were leading the faculty, and Aziza and Jahan were stellar students, I remember coming to this hall and struggling to read the words of Tennyson that crown the stage. Let knowledge grow from more to more, but more of reverence in us dwell. The first time I read them, I asked my older brother what reverence meant. He wasn't sure, but he said it was clearly a good thing. Knowledge of AUC history inspires reverence for its mission. Let us remain true to that mission, and our next century will take care of itself. Milad Saeed, happy birthday, AUC.
Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. This very iconic stage that has witnessed magical performances from local and international artists over the past 100 years will today host the very first performance to be organized by AUC's Tahrir Cultural Center, featuring legendary music from Kulthum and the sensational Edith Piaf, who both sang on this very stage. Please welcome Maestro Hisham Gabr and his orchestra.
qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sous sa bouche. Voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour à plus finir, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place, des ennuis, des chagrins s'effacent, en mourir. Hold me close and hold me fast. This magic spell you cast, this is la vie en rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and then I close my eyes. I see la vie en rose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens en moi mon cœur qui bat. La 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 Merci beaucoup. Thank you. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. Ni le bien qu'on m'a fait, ni le mal, tout ça m'est bien égal. Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien. C'est payé, balayé, oublié. Je me fous du passé. Avec mes souvenirs, j'ai allumé le feu. Mes chagrins, les plaisirs, je n'ai plus besoin de balayer les amours avec leur trémolo, balayer pour toujours. Je repars à zéro. Non, rien de rien. joie